Good evening, everyone. Sorry. Right. I hope everyone can.
Anthony, I think
Yes.
you have a whole bunch of AI bots on the.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if the real people are here. Let's see.
Okay, just a few people. I see Megan there.
Hi,
Um,
Megan.
Hi, everyone.
hey, Megan. Maybe we may want to send some reminders to our chapter leaders to be able to attend.
Sure, sure.
Okay. All right. Let's just give a few more minutes so that we can have more people attend, and then we can kick off. For those of you that have joined, thank you very much for joining. Feel free to just share on the chat option where you're joining us from. Glad to have you here. All right. I see Mauritius is in the house, Zambia in the house. Samuel V from Cameroon. Welcome. And from Tanzania. Right. I got you from Niger. Thanks for joining. Welcome, Liz from Ethiopia. Valeria from Angola. Okay, great. All right then. I believe we are good to kick off. Just put the slides on slide mode, and then we're good to kick off. So once again, welcome everyone to today's orientation. We are excited to have you to host you at the end of the Q3. So before we kick off, just a quick update in terms of housekeeping. This session will be recorded, and we'll be sharing with you at the end of the session the recordings and also the presentation. You're going to be on mute while the sessions are ongoing. If you have any questions, feel free to post the questions on the chat options, and we'll be able to respond. Let's collaborate. It's a collaborative space, so feel free to share and also to react to what you're going to be hearing tonight. So feel free to engage on the chat option. As I mentioned, the slides and resources will be sent after the call. Today's agenda will be kicked off by our Managing Director, Georgia Samani, followed by our Head of Community, Adiola Kanda, and then we'll be followed by Nina Holman. She's going to be talking about more as well as the chapter as the flywheel. Then we're going to move to Ricardo Triana to talk about culture, and then we'll end the session with the closing highlights. So without taking more time, I'm just going to pass it over to Managing Director George Samani for his opening address. Mr. George, over to you.
Thanks, Anthony. Hi, everyone. I hope you're well. It's good to see or to at least read your names online. Yeah, so I'm going to keep it brief. This is just a very, very high level, let me say, greeting and an update and Q&A. A few things I wanna touch base on. So the first is really just saying thanks for Kigali. Kigali was amazing. I think it's fair to say it was amazing. A lot of people are saying that. To be honest, when we had the last conference in Nairobi, everyone was like, "How are we going to beat Nairobi? How are we going to have a better experience than Nairobi?" Because Nairobi was just fantastic, and somehow, by the grace of God, Kigali was also great. So that's thanks to all of us working really, really hard on this. This is the first time, as you know, this is the first time we worked with the global teams, and the global teams finally realize that actually the SSA team really, really works together with chapters. And I say this because, globally, we talk about the flywheel, we talk about, each part of PMI working with the other part of PMI. But global teams actually don't realize how close we are as sort of like region and chapter. And so we sort of set the standard, because before Kigali, some of the things that we're explaining, for example, we have to have chapter participation in the event, because this event is not just GSSA. This event started 10 years ago. This event started with the chapters. Our way of working is basically Ubuntu, so and sometimes, a lot of times, that was hard to explain. Innocent has been on some of the calls, or was on some of the calls where we're explaining how we're working and the collaboration. And I'm just saying all this to say that when the global teams eventually came on the ground, saw you guys, saw the energy, saw the participation, even saw the fact that chapters are bringing people on buses. For example, Uganda chapters are committing X number of people. The feeling of togetherness was really, really quite profound. So I just want to thank everybody for this this thing that we have. I think is very powerful. Let's just continue. Of course, we have a lot of learning to do between us, but let's just keep on encouraging each other and learning as best as we can. I just want to talk through some of the things that we see as successful. I'm probably going to miss out a few things or forget to say a few things. Hopefully, we'll also get some contributions from the audience in terms of what do you think was a success. So first off, in terms of the number of attendees, we had almost 1,000 attendees from 25 countries. In Nairobi, it was just over 750. So now we're just over 1,000, and hopefully we'll keep on growing and making an impact. Also, some of the highlights. Of course, we had the opening by the Minister of Education in Rwanda, and I got a chance to talk to him one-on-one after his speech, just advocating the importance of project management, advocating the fact that there's a local chapter, and actually he acknowledged that actually project management is critical. Even he himself started talking about where projects are necessary. So that was just us continuing to sow the seed, or me continuing to sow the seed in terms of creating awareness and future partnerships with organizations like governments, or with bodies like governments. And then of course we had the address from the then president of the African Development Bank, President Adesina. I think his speech was phenomenal. It was timely, and it's a speech that we should play on repeat everywhere we go, because this is the leader of one of the largest institutions or most impactful institutions in the region, saying that we are important. So I think that was a big win for us. As you know, one of our regional priorities is visibility, and so for the president of African Development Bank to give us that much of his time and to record the video really helps us. And then of course we had some other great speakers as well. Banky W, Tunde from Chess and Slums. I think that was fantastic. Other successes, some of the organizations that came in groups or came for a purpose, for instance, Central Bank of Nigeria, MTN, Lagos State, Dangote. Of course, we had a huge Nigerian presence, not only from in terms of organizations, but also in terms of individuals who came from South Africa. SACP-CMP, that's the regulator for construction projects. The people from the Ministry of Infrastructure in South Africa. So there were organizations and governments who came as organizations and governments. We had meetings with them, trying to promote the cause, trying to promote the community as well. And it's again just continuing the advocacy for our profession. And of course, the visibility from a media perspective was fantastic. We had a few TV stations that were talking about what we're doing. LinkedIn, even up until today, we're seeing LinkedIn posts that's helping our visibility, because of course the more visible we are, the more it means that people are able to engage with us. And this is all across not only the Global Summit series, but also the LIM as well. From the LIM perspective, I really hope that it was really a leadership institute. In other words, I really hope that actually everybody who attended, the chapter leaders, you guys, that you're receiving the value from it. Again, this is where the global teams see that what we do in our region is quite bespoke. And what I mean by that is we try to customize as much as possible to suit what you need. So for example, Miranda, who was leading the session on 6 thinking hats, that was something that we insisted that we do these kind of things, because generally in the global sessions all around the world, it's a standard framework, standard sessions that are put on by the global team. And so there isn't actually a lot of customization that happens globally. But because we recognize the needs within our region, because we have a specific vision for leadership growth in Africa, we do these customizations because we believe that it helps. And I hope you feel that it helps. If it doesn't, let us know. So, that's from the LIM point of view. And I know that there was a lot of chapter sharing, a lot of leaders teaching leaders helping other leaders. So again, I hope that was useful. Youth edition. I only got to attend part of the youth edition, but what I saw was very, very encouraging, very heartwarming. Actually, I met some of the youth chapter presidents, which is it was actually moving, because one of them actually had a really bad family situation, but his family just told him to come to Kigali anyway. And I don't know how that guy was just carrying himself and lifting up his head so high, considering what had happened back at home. But he just carried himself like a leader, young guy, carrying himself like a leader to do what for the sake of his life. This was a guy who was there for his life, to educate himself, to network, and to move forward. So it was just really moving to see these young people stepping up, trying to learn, keeping their head up high, looking at you in the eye, because they're hungry for something, and they want to be seen, and they want to move forward in their lives. So the youth edition was fantastic. We need to make sure we take it to the next level and make as much impact as we can. So, we're open to ideas. The other thing that I thought was really good, and of course I'm saying this, but really the proof is in the pudding for those people who received it, which was like the workshops on masterclasses. We were very, very, very intentional of having something like a step-by-step guide to AI, and we really wanted to make sure that it wasn't just PMI teaching it, but it was done with somebody from the region. In this case, it was MTN Nigeria, because we've been doing some AI work with them for a while. So we put them together to say, okay, the AI lead from PMI worked together with MTN Nigeria to do a workshop on step-by-step guide to AI. So anybody who attended that, I hope you really found it useful. Very, very similar for anybody who attended the monitoring and evaluation session. The reason that we put that on is because whenever I speak with government leaders about project management, the first thing they say is, oh, monitoring and evaluation. And it's like, you know what, that's not exactly the same thing. It's not like for like. Project management doesn't mean monitoring and evaluation, and vice versa. So I said to the team, we need to also include this in the agenda. We need to be able to highlight that actually project management is a broader picture, and we are critical, of course, in project management, but we also have a stake in the monitoring and evaluation. And that's why we were also very intentional about making sure that the people who were teaching that session, well, it was African Development Bank people together with a guy from the World Bank, and we promoted it heavily within government circles, especially because we're in Rwanda, to the Rwandan government people, because again, we want to make it clear that we are critical to the monitoring and evaluation space, but which a lot of people up until now don't actually, the penny was not dropping, but hopefully it starts to drop now. And then some of the other workshops as well, we were very intentional about making it. And so overall, from a content point of view, again, coming to customization, the global summit, there's a template for it, and that template is very PMI content heavy. But we were very, very intentional, and I said to the global teams, I said, guys, we know the content that our region needs. We know the content that makes sense. We speak to our community and our customers every single day. And so we know what's on the top of their mind. We know what the pain points are. And so those critical pain points need to be married together with the PMI content. And by God's grace, that's what we're able to do. I know there's still room for learning, but I believe that's the way that we need to do it, and that's the way that we move forward. Blending the global content template stuff together with the pain point and the needs of the region. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there, just from a GSS point of view. I'll be, we're always open to ideas, suggestions. I know that there's room for improvement, so constructive criticism is always welcome. So that was the biggest event or activity this quarter that's just finishing, Q3. Just looking forward into Q4, which is starting in a few days. Actually, before I go into that, one of the other updates from the quarter that's just finished, you'll see on this slide here, bottom right hand, you can see a gentleman by the name of Lanre Olusola. Lanre is the new Partner Success Manager for construction. So for those of you know the construction team, that is Raphael, that is Ben Breen, that is Ricardo. The construction team works hand in hand with the region team. So Lanre technically is part of the global construction team, and he works under Raphael, but he's based in Africa. So he's also part of the regional Africa team. So Lanre's role is Partner Success Manager for construction. And so the way of working is that the regional team, together with the construction team, have to be synchronized in terms of what are our construction goals, what impact are we trying to make, how do we partner with the chapters on the ground, how do we do our B2C marketing and all that. They have to be synced up, as in the regional PSMs with the construction PSM land rig have to be synced up. And actually that synchronization meeting is happening next week. So they have to be synchronized and also coordinate in our go-to-market approach so that everything is smooth. I'm expecting that there will be some bumps along the way where Landry and maybe Emeka, or Landry and Pumza, there's some kind of mismatch somewhere along the lines as we're learning how to coordinate. But we'll figure that out. We're trying to minimize that as much as possible. So that's another sort of like a major update from this quarter that's just finishing. Looking ahead into this last quarter of the year, so my team's been asking, what are we going to do in this last quarter? Anything new that we need to do? And really, my response is we just need to focus and finish well. We don't necessarily have to start anything new, although there is something new that's happening, and I'll explain that in a second. But we've tried our best in the last year, or maybe even 15 months, to make tweaks to how we work so that we can be a bit smoother. This team works crazy hours, so we've tried our best to just have a system that works, that doesn't kill us. And so I feel like we're just about getting to that point where we're confident and comfortable in the system, in our way of working, and also in the results that the system is producing. That system, of course, includes, how do we support chapters so that we're not just responding from an admin perspective, but actually we're helping chapters to thrive. We're helping leaders to become the leaders that they want to be. And that's not an easy task. So how do we create a system that does all this and also gives regional results like certification growth, membership growth, that sort of thing? And so with the system that we've got, we just want to, the idea is, to finish well, not make too many changes, and review by the end of the year what we're going to do differently next year. My sense is next year we're going to continue with more of the same, because the system seems to be working. We're open to feedback on how you see it, but it seems to be working. And we'll just continue with what works. Of course, we will change what does not work. So it's more of the same. And one thing that is new that I said that's going to be happening in this last quarter is something called PMI Week in Africa. So this is a completely new and opportunistic initiative that came up. Funny enough, it was actually Pierre's idea. Last year, I was speaking to Pierre, and we were talking about 2025. And actually, the reason it came up is because if you see, we're actually talking about regional priorities. Funny enough, what's on the screen. So priority number 2 and 3. We're talking about these priorities. And I actually shared some information with Pierre. And the information specifically was about affordability in our region. And I said to him, do you know that actually the PMP, the global PMP price, which is like 500 or something, or separately, the regional PMP price plus membership, whichever one you look at, in some countries, it costs the same as somebody's monthly salary. And like that's it's heartbreaking. I think we talked about it at the limit. It's really, really heartbreaking that it's for people who are, or some people who are in a profession, it can't cost that much. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not saying it's in every country, but there is a segment of people or segment of society where actually to upskill, your whole month's salary needs to go into it, maybe even more than a month. And so he got this brainwave. He said, why don't we do an initiative where we can just get a mass of people to train, and we can try to discount the certification. So it's through that conversation that this PMI week idea came up. And this is happening in October. It's not happening in the way that we envisaged, so we're going to have to try and do it again. But the way that it's happening right now is that we some of you might have seen the emails. We've reached out to everybody who is doing the PMP, who is in the eligible to pay and eligible to exam category. So they've already studied. They're just in the final stages, eligible to pay and eligible to exam. And we are offering study hall completely for free, just to help them with that last stage. So study hall is completely for free if you're in the category, but also you have to also be able to demonstrate that actually you booked your exam, because this is supposed to help people cross the line of the exam. That is where it's most likely to be successful. So study hall is completely free. And then the initial plan was to do it through organizations like MTN, the large organizations that can reach a lot of people. And the reason we were going to do it that way was because it's a bit more controlled. The B2B dynamic is more controlled. We can have one-on-one conversation with an organization, agree the terms, and then we can spread out. But the conversations have not just been finalized. So we're essentially just emailing people. Sorry, I didn't finish my train of thought. My train of thought was the whole idea was to work with organizations and provide bulk discounts for organizations so that we could get that effect of lower pricing for people. It's a bit more difficult to do that on a B2C, in a B2C way. We still need to think that through. So where we've landed, as I mentioned, is yes, it's B2C, but we're going to those people only in the eligible to pay and eligible to exam state, and we're providing study hall for free. So that's the initiative that's happening. We're going to be anchored in Nigeria. Actually, a key piece of information that I forgot to mention is part of the reason Pierre was excited about this is because there's a global board meeting happening in Lagos next month. Every quarter, the global board meets. It's mandatory for the global board to meet. And the next meeting is going to be in Lagos. And so that's actually the reason why I was talking to Pierre, and that's why this conversation came up. And so the whole idea is to be able to make to talk about it whilst we're in Nigeria, and to have to engage with the community in Nigeria, people testing whilst we're there. We've been talking to test centers to make sure that they have capacity, that sort of thing. So this is a regional initiative for the entire region, but in terms of where we will be physically present when it's happening, physically present in Lagos, Nigeria. And my team has been speaking with the Nigeria chapter, just in terms of the planning and information sharing, that sort of thing. So that was just a high-level overview of what we're looking at in this last quarter of the year. So again, this last quarter of the year is to focus, not to really start anything new, but to just finish well what we've been working on. Plus also this PMI week in Africa that we're talking about. And the reason why we call it PMI week in Africa is because it's a global board. So that's all of PMI plus a C-suite spending a week in Africa. And we want everybody in Africa to benefit from this initiative. And so maybe just go back one slide, please. Before we get to the Q&A, I just wanted to remind everyone of the regional priorities. These are the regional priorities that we started to focus on end of last year, beginning of this year. they're still work in progress. So even next year, the regional priorities will be the same. So increasing brand awareness, we need to keep doing that. And Global Summit Series Africa did a fantastic job at helping us to increase awareness. We talked about it, meeting people where they are in terms of payment localization. We talked about this in the last quarterly update, where we said we are trying to make sure that, for example, payments like mobile money, M-Pesa, Momo, that sort of thing, that we can do that. We can use those payment methods to pay for certifications like the PMP, to pay for membership. So that's kicked off now. We're doing some initial testing with a few of the chapters. You know yourselves, Nigeria and Kenya, and I believe maybe one more. So Nigeria and Kenya, they've been contacted by the global teams and should be doing testing in terms of paying for PMP with M-Pesa and other payment methods within the regions. The third regional priority, getting governments and organizations to subsidize. This is work in progress still. I think the latest success we've had is SACP CMP, the regulator in South Africa. You guys have probably heard me talk about them so much. We've now also gone again to the next level. Just on 1st of August, they released what they call a special dispensation. This is a kind of regulation which means that anybody in South Africa who is not compliant with SACP actually can become compliant just by taking the PMICP. And this special dispensation is open for 3 months, 3 years. So it's almost like a 3-year amnesty, that if you've fallen outside the rules, you have 3 years within which, if you take PMI construction certification, you can actually, they'll allow you back in the South Africa construction regulator. So that was launched 1st of August. And we're continuing with other governments and other bodies like African Development Bank, just continuing those conversations so that we can arrive at these kind of high-level mandates. And then the last one, increasing ATP capacity to unclog the system. This is actually one of the reasons why, I don't know if you noticed, but we had an ATP dinner in Kigali. We invited ATPs from all across Kigali and all around Africa. Those who are attending, trying to bring them in. And also, that's also why we had the ATP Awards, the first ever ATP Awards globally. We held in Kigali. The whole idea is to encourage ATP compliance and encourage ATP performance. Also encourage non-ATPs to become ATPs. This is part of the journey. So it's a work in progress, whilst at the same time, the global team is working on the systems to make sure that only those people who are ATPs can train people, and that's going to be happening at some point soon. I can't give I don't know the timeline, but that's the work that's being built. So that's me done in terms of regional priorities. I think we're going to go to Q&A, but I just want to thank you again for a great year so far, for a phenomenal global summit also in Kigali. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. Mimi Nelson, kindly if you can help me on the chat option with the questions that have been posted there by the chapter leaders.
Sure, Anthony. So there's a question to George saying, is there a threshold of number of people in an organization to qualify for the bulk discount?
Yeah, it's volume based. Are there any PSMs on the call? Okay, so let's do this. It's volume-based discount. So let's say if you ordered 20 certifications, then you get like 5%. If you order 50, then there's another X%. So maybe if you don't mind, maybe you can connect a PSM to the person who asked that question. Or in fact, why don't you just send that information to everybody on this call? So maybe speak with one of the PSMs for the volume-based pricing slide and just send it to everybody on this call.
Roger, that's well noted.
Yeah. Aman's got a question.
Emmanuel, you can open your mic. Hello, Emmanuel, can you hear us? All right, so let's go with Jean. Jean has a question.
Hi, Jean.
Okay, there we go. I was just going to say that I think on chat, sorry, we're not being able to put in any comments on chat. At least I wasn't able to. George, thank you for that update. And my question is on the PMI week. This is a good idea. I think from a modalities perspective, and I don't know whether I got everything that you said, because it sounded like it's going to be in Nigeria. Is the idea that actually for the PMI week, then anybody who can get to Nigeria, or is it just specific to Nigeria? Because I would think that, like, for instance, in the East Africa zone or the, in other areas, there would be maybe, because like a free study hall, I don't know whether maybe it's the details, that a little bit more detail that we need, George,
Yeah.
So that we can also promote that. Because if you did that in multiple centers, that would be excellent in terms of actually encouraging. And I know in our chapter, we've got quite a bit of, there are very many people who would be interested, and that might also be an incentive for them to take that next step. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Thanks, Jean. Yeah, sorry, you're right. I didn't explain it thoroughly. So, is it only in Nigeria? No, it's everywhere. It's all across the region. How is it all across the region? We've emailed everybody across the region who is in the eligible to pay and the eligible exam status. We've emailed them and we've said to them, this initiative is on, and if you're ready to take your exam and you can commit to taking your exam in the PMI week, to be honest, it's in the month of October. But within the PMI week initiative, then send us your confirmation of exam booking, and then we'll send you the code for the free study week. And this is available for everybody in the region. From a Nigeria perspective, it's just that physically we just happen to be, when I say we, I mean the board, the global board, and some of my team will be in Nigeria for the global board meeting. So we would just happen to be in Nigeria at that time. This was planned. We knew the meeting was happening, so we sort of like assessed the test center situation, the test center capacity, connecting with the chapter. So from a physical activity, that's what's happening physically. So yeah. So what I was also saying was that this is the first time we're doing it. We thought, let's start in a B2B way so that it's a bit controlled. And I think depending on how this goes, we can look at, should we do this again, or how do we do it in a way that's more, more energetic region-wide, if I could put it that way. But it's a bit of a learning experience right now. So yeah, and we don't have we don't know how it's going to go. Hopefully it goes well. So does that answer the question?
That does, George. If I could just add maybe a suggestion. There was a period when we were really promoting PMP exams, and we had given I think a really big discount to take the PMP exam. And I know in Kenya at the time we had an overwhelming response in terms of everybody trying to go to the ATP centers, to the training centers, and the exam centers to take the exam, that actually we were negotiating with those exam centers to just multiply their capacity. During the PMI week, and I know you said there's a free study hall, is there any additional discounts that you can give or that you're planning to give in terms of taking the exam? I think in the Africa region, it's about $405 for a member. I mean, I think if you can add maybe an additional discount, maybe that might also trigger some additional, it might promote that a little stronger.
Yeah, so did you say for non-member? Because for member, it's 284.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I got it.
So I remember those discounts, and those discounts that we used to do was before we launched the regional pricing. So now that we've launched the regional pricing, it's actually, the pricing is lower than those discounts that we used to give.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jean. So, George, we'll take one more question. And
there's a question from Duarte. It's been on the chat.
Yeah, of course. This is a question I want to take from Duarte Carvalho on increased brand awareness and get government and organization to mandate certification. We'd like to know, what are we doing to leverage more PMI Africa's proximity to key Africa organizations? African Union, for example, who holds events across Africa, bringing together government and business in a single space.
Okay. So what are we doing? So generally, the idea, what we want to do, and what we are doing, for some, not all, and it's only not all because we're not there yet, or we don't have the relationships yet, is reaching out and speaking with governments or organizations like African Development Bank, so that we can support them with their own internal capacity building, internal project management work, but then also advocate for them to provide mandates and discounts for the general public, help them to provide funding, or just create an environment where the profession is recognized and they can support people to become project professionals. So that's the idea. Where are we on that journey? We've talked about our partnership with African Development Bank, which has started. It's in relatively early stages. Specifically, they're already training their internal staff. The next stage is this external part that I mentioned. So that's still in discussion. Lagos State Government, we've partnered with them. Again, they're also training their people. We're going to meet with them again when we go to Nigeria. Talked about South African construction regulator, and another one or two. We definitely want to be able to speak with the African Union. We've been trying to reach out for quite a while. We've not successfully made the same kind of progress that we've made with other organizations or other bodies, but we'll continue to try. Duarte, I believe my team is also reviewing an invitation from you to attend so like a government event in Angola about the same thing. So also attending these kind of events will help us to connect with these government bodies, so that we can do those two things about internal capacity building and external advocacy.
All right. Thank you very much, George. Due to time, other questions, we'll be able to respond to them offline. We'll take note of any other questions that have not been responded to. All right.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving ahead, we're going to be passing it over to our head of community, Adiola Kanda, to take us through the community updates. Over to you, Adiola.
Hi, everyone. And wasn't Kigali just spectacular? I know that George has spoken a lot, and thank you, George, for all that you said about Kigali, but we can't thank you enough for the way that the chapters showed up in numbers, in colors, with so much love. That was really amazing. And I really have to express my appreciation for all our chapters. It was amazing. And I want to tell you that our community may not be perfect, but our community is unmatched. Our community is resilient. Our community is strong, and our community is thriving. And it can only get better. It can only go higher from here. So let's keep doing what we're doing, just like Georgia said. Let's continue to collaborate. Let's continue to work together. We know that we're not perfect. We're not there yet, but we are working towards something. And because of all of our passion for Africa and for Pan-Africa, I know we're going to get there. So just briefly, again, thank you. Seems so inadequate, but I still have to say it. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you for all the gifts, all the love. We all showed each other in Kigali, and that is what the spirit that we have in Africa. That is our spirit of Ubuntu, and let's keep it going. So right now, I just want to share quickly this slide. We're all familiar with it. We're talking about just our global community, where we have 1.8 million certification holders. We have 753,000 members. That's a very important community. We have over 780 employees across the entire PMI. And then we have almost 18,000 volunteers, 300 plus chapters, and 391,000 plus chapter members. That is our global community. Next slide, please. Now, for our sub-Saharan region, it's important that we continue to remember and to look at these numbers. We have almost 35,000 certification holders. We keep growing. We have 30,000 active PMPs. We have over almost 25,000 members and still growing. We have a retention rate of 60.94%. That's good, but we can make it better. We're adding value to our chapters and to our members, and then we continue to see the retention rate go up. Also, we have almost 15,000 PMI chapter members in Sub-Saharan Africa. We have almost 70,000 chapter retention rates. So we're looking at our chapter retention rate is bigger than our global PMI retention rate. And that's something, kudos to our chapters, kudos to our chapter leaders who are right here. And we need to continue to do well so that our chapter members will continue to see value in what we do and continue to want to belong to our community. Now, we have 24 chapters. And guess what? We have 4 chapters in formation right now. So we are growing, and very soon we will even be bigger than we are right now. We have over 250 plus chapter leaders in 24 countries at the moment, and over 1,000 volunteers. That is an impressive community. We are proud of this community. We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to collaborate. And I believe that we're going to do amazing things, even more incredible than we have done in the past. Let's keep going, please. Now, just this slide is quickly to show us our regional volunteers, whom you already know. We have Billy. Billy is our region mentor for the Eastern and Southern Africa. Billy, are you on? Collins, Ayodo Collins is on the call. Collins is our social impact lead for the region. We have Fernando. Fernando is our PMOGA hub leader. We have Mario. Mario is our construction ambassador lead for our region. So we have other members, but these are our main regional volunteers. Next slide. We also have our culture ambassadors. Next slide. We have our culture ambassadors. We have Murugi, we have Mary, and we have Jean. So thank you, our culture ambassadors. And we're going to tell you more about these culture ambassadors later on. They are really here to support us in our region. They are here to bring the culture, the PMI culture, into our region to ensure that we are following what the PMI culture is across the globe. Thank you, our culture volunteers. Now, I want to show you some statistics from our GSSA in Kigali. We had over 1,000, actually 1,073 total registered. This includes employees and everybody. In-person attendees, that is not inclusive of staff, we had 851. And out of those, 732 were PMI members out of those registered. I think that's impressive. The memberships, our members turned up and turned out. So thank you. Now, we also have our non-members also showed up, which is quite impressive. So if you look at the non-members, we had 280 non-members that registered for the event. So right there, we have an opportunity to convert these non-members into members because they had a great time and they want to belong to this community. So just to show you that there's an opportunity right there for those that came and are not members. Also, I want to share with you this interesting one. 566 of the attendees this last Kigali have been to other global, they've been to other conferences that we have done. So what that means is that we're doing something right, and let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep adding value. Just like George said, our content is very customized for our region. We believe that we're talking, we know what the needs of the region are, and we're trying to provide that. And this will help us to keep these numbers going up. And last but not the least, we had for our LIM, we had 145 chapter leaders. So that was really amazing. And I just wanted to share these numbers with you just so that we know that where we need to concentrate our efforts. Yes, next slide, please. Now, this is just to show some of our key events and timelines. We're already in Q3, about to go into Q4. So if you look at the left lower corner, that's our Q3. Those are the main events that we have achieved. These slides will be shared. So I'm not going to be able to go into details because of time, and we have a lot on the plate for us today. But I would like to share with you for Q4. Here are some of the exciting things that we have ahead of us. Our chapter's end of year meeting will happen. It will be a virtual meeting in December, most likely around the second week of December, but we will share the exact dates in due course. We have our annual planning preparation as chapter leaders. As we get to the end of this year, we need to start thinking about what we're doing next year, how we're doing it, and just to start preparing as chapter leaders. What is our vision for the following year? How is our chapter plan going to be? What do we want to achieve? This is the time for us to start thinking about that. We also have other things like our Agile Think Tank meetings, our webinars, AWG meetings, all of our different volunteer groups. We have our orientation, which is something we have every quarter, which is what we're having today. That will continue to go on even for the next quarter. And then we have our monthly chapter playbook submissions. Now, on this chapter playbook submissions, we're still struggling. So please, we encourage all our chapter leaders, all our presidents to appoint somebody that is in charge of the chapter playbook. And this chapter playbook is to assist us to track what we are doing and to ensure that we are supportive of our members. We want to make sure that we're adding value to our members, and the more value we add, the more of the members we will be able to attract. So that is the purpose of the chapter playbook. We want to get to the point where we are on autopilot. We know what we are doing. We have a way of tracking what we are doing, and it's just going to be much easier for us. So that's about the chapter playbook. In addition, we're going to have, at the end of the year, we're going to do an awards for this chapter playbook. While some people have been sleeping on this, some other chapters have been submitting their chapter playbook every month, and there is a reward for that at the end of the year, which will be done at the annual end of year meeting. Also, we have our chapter monthly performance meetings that happen on a regular basis. We have our quarterly review for PMP webinars. We have reimbursements. Guys, reimbursements deadline is 14th of November. That is just for our grants to GSSA. So if you haven't submitted your reimbursement, please do that so that we don't lose out and we get what PMI has been able to offer us. Also, we have another global summit coming up soon, which is the Global Summit in Arizona. We already have a lot of registrations from our African members, please contact the chapter engagement team if you are going to be in Arizona so that we can connect with you. We have a lot of people already coming, and over 100 people have registered. We hope most people that want to come can make it due to the visa restrictions, but we want to be able to support you through the process. So please let us know. And then last but not the least, I want to talk about the new membership model, which is what we have launched. And we had 8 chapters have already started with the new membership model at the beginning of the year. Now we have the rest of our 16 chapters that are now undergoing the process of the new membership model. Now, out of these 16 chapters, we have agreed pricing with 12 chapters, and we still have 4 chapters that we are still in the process of talking about the pricing and agreeing on the pricing. We also want you to know that the chapter bylaws and all the governance surrounding the new membership model have to be completed by November. I have some of these things on the slide on the left-hand corner. We have those deadlines that we have to meet. So just to encourage all of us to make sure that we are following through. So for the 4 chapters that we have pricing discussions with, we would like to have a meeting with you as soon as possible so that we can talk through what the issues are and see how we can support going forward. So that is it on the new membership model and our activities that are going into the last quarter of the year. Most importantly, we want to continue to grow as a chapter. We want to continue to, as chapters and as a community, we want to continue to reaffirm our shared vision for the continent. We want to remain a vibrant, impactful, and connected PMI community across sub-Saharan Africa. I think that's it from me. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Adiola, for those updates in terms of the community and also the exciting news about the GSSA and giving those statistics. I can see also on the chat option that there's some beautiful pictures there shared where chapter leaders are actually celebrating. So next is going to be our culture team. I'm going to pass it over very quickly to Megan, who will be representing the culture team just to take us through the culture presentation. Megan will be presenting on behalf of our global head, Ricardo Triana, who was not able to join us today. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I know that I met or walked past or interacted with many of you while we were in Rwanda. So thank you so much for allowing me to spend time with you again today. So I know that we all at this point are familiar with our culture values that were co-created back in 2022. This year, 2025, we really put more intentional effort into building a true culture ecosystem with a focus, this year on rituals. So for those who were in attendance at LIM, you may remember our culture and diversity session with Jean, myself, and Ricardo, where we walked you through that culture art gallery walk. And we talked about some of the rituals that you're currently doing, some that you were inspired to do, and some that you would like to implement as soon as when you got back to your home. So I'm truly hoping that you all have put into action a lot of those new rituals and have identified some of the rituals that you're already doing that you continue to amplify. Next slide, please, Anthony. So with that being said, last year you all received an email for the culture survey. Well, it's that time of year again, so we're very excited that in 2 weeks, I keep saying next week, but in 2 weeks, this year's cultural survey will launch. I do want to let you know that there have been a few changes to that culture survey. We've made it a little bit easier to go through, so there aren't as many drop downs. And we also want to really encourage yourselves to take the survey. One thing that I do always want to highlight whenever I talk about the culture survey is it is a link that is emailed to you directly. And it is something, in fact, that we as PMI staff do not see your responses. It's meaning we don't know who said what, but we know what was said. So we're able to take that data and truly implement it into our culture strategy and our culture ecosystem so we can make it more something that you all are happy with. With that being said, last year we were able to see some increase in participation. We're looking to continue those numbers for this year. Our goal is to have 35% of global chapter leader participation. And with each 35%, we are making a $5,000 donation to an incredible organization. So please, please, please take the time to take this survey yourself and encourage your other chapter leaders to take the survey themselves, excuse me. I believe next slide is needed now. So there are 7 ways that you as chapter leaders can really help when it, again, comes to the culture survey. Talk about it. We know that you have group chats. We know that you have get-togethers between yourselves, your other chapter leaders, whether it's within this region or other regions. We do encourage you all to be true advocates to make sure that we can get the most data that we can. For this year, like I said, we are focusing on impact and we're getting back to an organization. So we can really help continue again to shape our culture and make it to what we really want it to be so that you all are excited. I mean, you already are excited, so let me take that back. So you can continue to be excited about being members of this amazing community. I do want you all to know in advance, it really only takes 5 to 10 minutes. So whether you're brushing your teeth, you're, walking around just somewhere to get outside, to get some fresh air during a day, hop on your phone and take that survey. It does not take long at all. In addition to that, we are having this really cool tool where you can track the progress of how many individuals within our community have taken that survey. So once I'm finished talking, I'll put the link to that in the chat. It's not available right now, so when you click on it, you won't see much, but starting October 6th, when that link goes out, that's when you'll be able to interact with it a little bit more. And then something really exciting for this year is that we're going to do more to celebrate the success of 100% of chapters. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Chapters who get 100% participation will receive digital badges. I know this is a competitive group, so let's see who can get to 100% participation first. How many chapters in the region that we can get to 100%? Let's get excited about this. In addition to that, we are also partnering with our mentors and our ambassadors. You saw earlier that there are 3 ambassadors for this particular region who will continue to, get everyone excited and help support with any questions that you all have. So again, just continuing to get people excited about that so they want to feel involved and a part of this. A line that when I was in university, my leadership professor always made sure that we know, and it's something that I truly live by, is the fact that people support what they help create. You all have helped created this, so we want you to continue supporting it so that you all can continue to be proud of our culture. So I have that. And then the last item that I also want to share is there will be 3 community open sessions. So something that if you have a question about anything regarding the survey or a question about our culture, you all are able to attend those sessions and talk to our cultural ambassadors, talk to the PMI staff members. We really want to encourage those open lines of communication. Again, our culture is nothing without you. You all are truly our foundation. So we want to make sure that foundation is strong. Next slide, please, Anthony. I also want to share an update on some changes within our groupings that we have here in the culture diversity team. So you may be aware, we do currently have the culture and diversity insight team. We have our culture and diversity ambassadors. However, officially it started, I believe it was in August of this year. But going into a full year next year, the chapter conflict program and mediators will now live under the culture and diversity team. So I just wanted to share that piece of information with you. More information on that will be coming and rolling out a little bit. If there is, one thing I do also want to communicate to you all now is the process for getting a mediator involved will stay the same. it's on the back end who those groups live under. I want to make sure you all are well aware that the access to this resource does not change at all. Next slide, please. And then on top of that, just to make you all aware of some of the pilots that had happened with this new iteration of this program, there's a pilot done in Washington, D.C. There was one that Ricardo led for the Sub-Saharan Africa President's Workshop, as well as one in Nigeria. So insights from those particular meetings is what's really helping inform and strengthening this particular program as it moves under culture and diversity. We are looking to expand this program, excuse me. So please be on the lookout for more information as that does end up rolling out. And I believe I already touched on that last item. Again, they're going to be this program particularly is going to live now under culture and diversity. They're going to doing more to develop resources so that you all as chapter leaders will feel even more equipped and supported when it comes to these particular issues that are brought up within your chapters. Next slide, please, Anthony. And then on top of that, this year we were very, very lucky to have combined with the Professional Awards Program. So here is a really great snapshot of all of the awards that live under the Professional Awards Program. Right now, we are going to be announcing those awards not next month, but the month after that, November, at Global Summit in Phoenix. So these honorees will be announced then. And then next year, that application will open. So if you are someone who knows that you should be deserving and receiving of award, or you know someone within your chapter who is deserving of receiving one of these awards, do not hesitate to apply. We always, always, always want to receive as many applications as we can so we can highlight those that are deserving. So just wanted to make sure that we shared that information. Next slide, Anthony. All right, and then, yep, this is a little bit more as well, talking about the awards program. So with it moving from its original area back into culture and diversity now, we are looking at ways to truly more so align the awards program with culture and diversity. So not only that, but we're looking to align on, yes, the global level, but also at the chapter level as well. I'm sorry, not the chapter level, please excuse me, the regional level as well. So some of the areas that we're looking to pilot that these kind of newer programs are in South Asia as well as South Africa. We're expanding the pipeline for Project of the Year, Rising Leader and PM of the Year. So again, looking to see as many of those really great qualified applicants as we possibly can to really strengthen this program as a whole. Again, a lot with talking about the key priorities for the region of expanding that brand awareness. This is part of that work. So just wanted to make sure that we're highlighting those connections for you. And I think that might be the last slide, Anthony.
That is correct, Megan. And
Okay,
thank you.
perfect.
Thank you very much, Megan. In case you have any questions, feel free to post on the chat and we will connect with you offline. Due to time, we're going to move forward to Nina. Nina Holman, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
All right. All right.
And
Okay.
if you'd be so kind, I'm going to take the PowerPoint from you.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you'll have to give me a moment. I'm trying this for the first time. Maybe not the best time to try it. Maybe not. Right. I was going to try using PowerPoint Live, but apparently that's probably not going to be the best idea. So we'll go with the old standby, known as our regular. Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for your time and attention this evening. Thank you so much. I know that this is moving into your home life, so I just wanted to say thank you so much. I also had the opportunity to come to Kigali and be in Rwanda. It was also my first time ever in Africa, and my colleagues before me have done a tremendous job in sort of summing up the passion and enthusiasm that was felt there. But I I just want to say that my family and friends are lucky that I came home. I definitely found a second home within Africa, more specifically within all of the wonderful volunteers, members, and practitioners. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to see your passion and enthusiasm firsthand. I'm going to go with take a moment to go through the activating the chapter flywheel. This was a session that was delivered during the LIM. So for those of you that were in attendance with us, this might be a little familiar to you. For those of you that were not, we have condensed some of the slides and also integrated some other speaking points that are more relevant as we move into Q3 and Q4. So if it feels a little bit disjointed, I apologize, and hopefully my verbal explanation will support any disjointed feel of my slides. So I just wanted to take a moment to pause and acknowledge everything that you do. We really appreciate everything that you do because, as Megan said before me, without you, we would not be what we are. PMI's superpower is our community. And through you and the chapter's work and the local community is where we really see the passion and enthusiasm really help to make and maximize project success and to elevate our world. So thank you so much. So how does PMI Next and PMI strategy align with how chapters operate? We do this through the 3 annual items that we ask you to complete, which is the annual plan, the catalog of core services, which is completed through the charter renewal process. But all of these items all have to work in a cylindrical or in a flywheel motion. For those of you that drive a manual transmission, a flywheel, as you know, is something that engages the clutch and you want to be able to jettison the vehicle forward. And that's really what we want you to do with your chapters. We want you to leverage your catalog of core services by looking at the things that provide value with the least amount of effort and expense, really to jettison that flywheel and articulate the how you're going to do that through the annual plan. So this isn't about doing more work, isn't about doing extra work. This is about working smarter and not harder. The purpose that we're able to deliver to the members and practitioners within our communities become real when your offerings and planning engagement all to come together as one. So this is a snapshot of our PMI Next strategy. But you can see that culture is embedded in everything that we do within here at the bottom. But it's sandwiched between our purpose, which is to maximize project success to elevate our world. But the in-between parts is the strategy. What do we do to deliver? So how do chapters play into the PMI Next strategy? So our core service catalog is broken down into 5 main offerings. And you can see core service number 1 here is specific to chapter events with delivery of unique and enhanced membership value. It also aligns with core service number 2. Core service number 3 aligns with our career development, which is our aligns to where we want to play, specific to career long learning and development, as well as amplifying that flywheel through academia. Our research shows us that we will have a significant project management talent gap. How are we going to overcome this talent gap if we are not putting emphasis on our academia? And then furthermore, core service number 5, which is member services, which is related to sustainable chapter and volunteer support systems. So this is also aligned to PMI's continued commitment to in iterating and improving on the systems in which we support chapters and volunteers. Most notably recently, the volunteer engagement platform, as well as the chapter system. So I want to highlight where you can find this information, because this is extremely important, because I know that you receive this information fast and furious in this type of environment. So it might be best for you to know where to find this later. So if you navigate to the Volunteer Resource Hub and select under Essential Resources, this link called PMI Next and Chapter Operations, it will actually pull up a document that we've developed that will help you to translate each area of PMI Next aligned to our strategy, and how you can translate our strategy into the things that you do locally. I'd also like to focus on this other tile here, referenced more framework. So I'll get into that a little bit later in the slide deck, but I do want to make sure that that is highlighted as well before we move on. Okay. So it's extremely important for you to understand where this concept of a flywheel came from. It's based on the book written by Jim Collins called Good to Great. This is, as I mentioned, for those of you that are familiar with manual transmissions, without engaging that clutch, the flywheel will spin and spin and spin and spin, but the car won't go anywhere. So think about this from the perspective of your chapter, or from this playground carousel. You know, for those of us of the play until dark generation, we would go out, and these were like mini death traps, right? You'd spin it and you'd spin it and spin it, and you'd whip yourself off. But it took a little bit of momentum to get it going, but ultimately, once you got it going, it kept going. And then every once in a while, you had to get a friend to push it a little bit more. But also related to the vehicle, again, when the vehicle's on, this flywheel is spinning and spinning, but unless you engage that clutch, the car won't go anywhere. So think about that when you are conducting your annual planning sessions, to identify the things that maybe don't make sense anymore because they're no longer aligned with PMI Next. So that is that strategy of reviewing that PMI Next chapter operations guide that I'm just referenced in the earlier slide, to decide what are the things we want to start doing, what are the things that we want to stop doing, what are the things that we iterate on, because they're showing some success, but that maybe with a little more effort, these could be highly successful items. So forgive me, I have a tendency to ramble. I apologize. PMI, the first iteration of a flywheel, actually had chapters as one of our connections. But what we really realized is that chapters aren't just part of the system. Chapters play a greater role. The chapters actually drive the momentum created through consistent, purpose-aligned actions. You are the local face of the GHQ or headquarters within your communities. We are, quote unquote, the mothership. So without your consistent momentum with these programs, products, services, meetings, outreach, the advocacy and outreach that you're doing to the government, the academia, none of this would be possible. So a stronger flywheel, chapter flywheel, actually leads to higher member engagement, stronger partnerships, and greater community visibility. So again, just trying to kind of take a step back. So annual plan is execution on a short term. The flywheel is that long-term impact. So when we were in Kigali, we did have our chapter leaders go through an exercise of creating their own chapter flywheel. So included in this deck that Anthony and team will share with you are some of those exercises hidden at the bottom of the deck, that if this is an exercise that you would like to participate in with support from Anthony, Nelson, or Mimi, I would certainly reach out to them and ask them to help facilitate this type of annual planning, facilitation workshop. I do want to talk a little bit about more, because we did reference or make mention to the fact that PMI is not asking chapters to do more. We're just asking you to work a little bit smarter. So more is not about doing more work. It's about doing the work that delivers more success. So for those of you that are not familiar, after the implementation of PMI Next, we had conducted a pretty significant research, one of the biggest research that we had ever done in our history. And what that research told us is that not only do we have to redefine project success, but it has to be more inclusive of other project criteria, success criteria. As we know, historically, project success has been narrowed to the triple constraint: scope, budget, and schedule. And even if the other project items were considered, they were not really measured with any great quality or consistency. So this is really our call to action from from the research, from our leadership. The more is a call to our profession, shifting its focus and accountability beyond project success, beyond project management success to project success. It represents a sweeping reconsideration of the role of our global project management community. And that's a quote from Pierre. And ultimately, what we want you to do is to think about more when you are conducting your review of the core services that you want to deliver on. As you know, you're expected to deliver the required services, but with the lens of more, with the lens of the needs of your chapter members and the chapter practitioners within the area. Does it make sense to deliver some of those recommended services? Does it make sense to offer those optional services? Are there services that maybe are so unique to the needs of your community that it isn't even captured on our global catalog? So I think I said this earlier, that community is our superpower. Community really drives collaboration. Communities champion innovation. You're building grassroots. I mean, chapters are the grassroots of PMI, and that's why I've spent so much time within chapters and volunteer spaces. We are advancing the equity, and this is why culture is in everything that we do. We want to make sure that there is an inclusive place for everyone to participate in the project management community. But more importantly, we want to enable project effectiveness. So I want to take a moment to highlight some of the chapters that are doing these things well. And this is really just to get some of your creative juices flowing. We want to start the opportunity for you to brainstorm and start thinking about how you're going to make 2026 the best year yet. There was so much passion and enthusiasm coming out of the Leadership Institute meeting in Kigali that I have no doubts that everyone and every chapter in this region is truly unstoppable. So I want to take a moment to shout out to the Ghana chapter. We've frequently seen that chapters stick with the traditional Thursday night dinner meeting, but this chapter actually took an opportunity to identify that breakfast meetings and weekly book club meetings were actually more valuable to the members within and the practitioners within their community. And to the earlier point, they didn't require as much effort or expense to implement. I also want to talk about the Senegal chapter, how they have created growth with purpose. Everything that they've done is tied to the chapter's why and its core purpose. Senegal shows us what growth with purpose truly looks like. Their mission is clear. They've identified project management sectors and put a strong focus on their youth and education. They've developed Francophone toolkits, and they've really taken their definition of hospitality to a new level. They really are welcoming new members, and their retention rates have been a direct result of that. Ideas into impact, the Zimbabwe chapter. There have been opportunities for the Zimbabwe chapter. They've leaned into segmentation. They didn't just assume that all of their members want the same thing. They've actually gone ahead and they've created industry groups. They've created exam cohorts. They've done social meetups. So really about meeting the members where they want to be met, to mobilize the offerings that chapters have to meet members where they are. So looking through the chapter flywheel lens, what is already working for your chapter? These questions will start to help you to think like a chapter flywheel strategist. So what activities can create the momentum that we were talking about? What opportunities do you have within your chapter programs that can enhance the value by creating stronger connections? Are there any groups or stakeholders that you might be able to connect and create bridges for, those seeking to be mentored and those seeking to mentor? We want to, again, as I mentioned, you want to start your action planning by start, continue, and stop or redefine what you're doing by aligning with PMI Next guidance. You want to leverage that Next guidance for chapter operations that I mentioned, that I highlighted. You want to collaborate to align with our chapter engagement team, whether that be Anthony, Nelson, Mimi, or Billy. They are all amazing, excellent resources to you. And you want to start to identify the offerings that you have that create the most momentum, the most value with the least amount of effort and expense. I already touched on this. I just want to bring it back up just to show real quick, just to, again, try to bring it back full circle, that all of these tools work in cohesive collaboration with one another. Here are some of the examples of inputs that you would want to include in your annual planning sessions. As I mentioned, we have the PMI Next strategy is here. You'll want to leverage the chapter membership satisfaction survey that's available through ThoughtSpot. You'll likely want to conduct a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges analysis. And then you want to focus on those catalog of core services, aligning with the top 3 objectives and actions so that you have a way to track that. And just remember that annual planning is the time to discuss all chapter activities. Really embrace curiosity. Think about academic outreach, corporate outreach, social impact, and youth-serving nonprofits. Think about how you may or may not want to implement a branch model to serve chapter members in a different or more specialized means. Key takeaways: chapters are purpose is at the center. Chapters are the flywheel. They create the momentum. Individual activations are crucial, and effective annual planning sessions. Lean in and leverage the resources that are available to you. Next steps: identify a one priority stakeholder initiative for the next quarter to build momentum and explore the ways to connect with under-engaged groups. So I think that rounds out my slides. I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with all of you. Again, I know that all of you are unstoppable. Your passion and enthusiasm are truly contagious.
All right. Thank you very much, Nina. We only have 2 minutes remaining, so for those of you who have questions for Nina, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. I think we can save 2 questions. All right, I see one hand there. Is that Ipusang? Ipusang, is that a question? All right. Okay then.
No.
So,
I haven't looked at mine now.
okay, no
Good
worries
evening,
then.
though.
All right, good evening. Okay then, if there are no any other questions, I'd like to thank thank you very much, Nina. I also like to thank all the speakers who participated in tonight's presentation, from our MD, Georgia Samani, to our Head of Community, Adiola Kande, Megan Spade, and Nina Homan. Thank you for the insightful contributions. I also like to extend my gratitude to each and every chapter leader who joined tonight's session. Your continued efforts in building stronger communities within your respective countries have made this orientation session a success. We'll be sharing tonight's presentation with you, along with the responses to any questions that were not addressed during the Q&A chat via email. So with that, we've come to the end of our Q3 orientation session. Thank you once again, and have a great evening, everyone. Thanks.